Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you're feeling well. I hope everybody is okay. The sun is out where I am, so I'm happy. I hope it's out where you are. It's been raining for a few days straight. Since Sunday, I haven't gone outside. So today I was able to go for a walk and I feel really great. I hope that you're okay wherever you are and whatever you're doing. So, I'm talking today again about fear as we continue this week on fear. If you're new to the channel, my name is Joanna Daniel. I'm a counselor, I live in Wales, and I have a space, Wounds to Scars, where we provide a safe space for people to heal who have experienced childhood trauma. So, that's who I am. Please like and subscribe to this channel and share it with those who you know would benefit. We really appreciate you sharing, really appreciate you being here. So today I'm talking about fear. Sometimes fear is trying to tell you something, but sometimes we lean into it and kind of short circuit some of the stuff that could happen in our lives, some of the opportunities that we could have. So some people live their whole lives in fear, but I'm going to teach you one thing that you can use to break free, or one of the things that keeps us captive in fear. And this morning I was talking to a client and I said, what if the struggles that we have is not life happening? Because sometimes the idea is life's happening. I'm going to lean in, or I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide from it. I'm just going to kind of go under the cover for a while until life stops happening and then I can continue. But what if that thing that feels like fear, that would send fear and would cause you to become afraid and to go for cover and hide? What if that's the thing that was sent to cause you to grow? What if it makes you grow and develop personally as a person, grow in your relationships, in your parenting, in your ability to manage life and to learn coping mechanisms and to do things in a different way? What if it could do that? So say for example, you're praying for patience and there is a challenge that would call for patience from you, but you get irritable and respond in usual characteristic ways that you usually respond. My tongue is tied today. But that was an opportunity for you to exercise the patience that you have. What if you're dealing with anger and there are people who presses your buttons, as we say, but as they press, it's an opportunity for you to call forth the control that you're learning about, that you're reading about, that you're watching this channel and you're learning about. And it calls it forth, and you can apply it in those moments when you feel like your buttons are pressed. And we're not talking about anger today, so I won't go into how you call that forth. But I'm talking about fear. So what if that thing that makes you afraid is the thing that calls forth you to apply principles and principles to help you to get through that thing. So one of the things that really cause fear is sometimes our past, it holds us captive. Our past holds us captive. And here are some of the ways that it holds us captive. If you think about a plot of land that is fenced round and it has barbed wires or whatever else they use to fence it round, and say you are that plot of land and the past is holding you captive. Here's some of the things that would make the fencing. There would be comparison, is one of the posts, one of the major posts that holds that fence together with comparison. There is a fear of comparing yourself with others. There is also a fear of judgment. What if I do it and I'm not done it correctly? What if people laugh at me? So the judgment is from within. It's not external, it's internal. And I want you to know that this land, that's you, these things that are around it, that is fencing you in, that is holding you in, they're not made by other people. They're internal processes. They are coping mechanisms. They're automatic responses that you've developed. Now, this information is not something for you to beat yourself with. It's information. Remember when I said when you meet that thing, when it feels like this is challenging, it's not for you to hide. It's for you to meet it with, call for what's already within you, what you've been given that you can use to meet that challenge. So the challenge for you might be, well, she's calling me out. She's saying that I am afraid, I feel fear, and she's saying it's within me. And you might have blamed other people. You might have focused on what they were doing and say, they make me. Nobody can make you do anything. You can't make anybody do anything either. Okay. So, for example, and I mean emotional wise, okay, I don't mean people can lead us to do things that are wrong. I mean emotional wise. And I know women that are people that are in abusive relationships that are made to do things physically. But I'm talking about making you feel good or bad. Okay. So, somebody, they might compare you and they might tell you that they compare you, like, oh, you're not as good as so and so. Have you considered this person? And the messaging in that you hear is because you're sifting it through the past, and when other people have done that to you, and the messaging for that for you is, you're not good enough. And so I'm comparing myself to this person. I bet they're comparing me. I need to stop. Nobody was doing that. Maybe the comparison happened, but you took it to another level in your mind. So the things that are holding you in are within you. They're in your thoughts, they're in your mind, and you have the power to break free from that. You have the power to break free from that. And if you use the opportunities to break free, you will become break free. You will become free. So here is one thing. Know what your triggers are. Know what those things are that sends you in that place that makes you feel afraid. Know in your mind, when is it that I feel most boxed in? When is it that what happens that makes me feel fenced in and I feel unable to move and I can't do anything? What's that thing? And believe me, we all have a level of struggle. We all struggle. I speak around the country and Europe, and not all over Europe, but I've spoken internationally. But when I just started out, and even though I was trained as a counselor and I knew what I was talking about, and I deliberately didn't come on YouTube and watch other people because I wanted my message to be authentic. I wanted to be from me, what I was learning, what I was experiencing, what I was learning from my clients, and I wanted it to come from that place and what I was being taught by God. I wanted it to come from that place. And so, but people in those early days, there's certain people who their attitude was really off. And I've learned to not allow those people to upset me and to let me box myself in or put myself any fence around me. And they'd say, oh, have you listened to this person? Have you listened to this person? Usually a famous person. And I'd say some of those people I genuinely had never heard about, didn't know them, and I deliberately didn't go research them. Have you heard this person? They speak about this too. Have you heard this person? They speak. The messaging for me was, you're not as good as. But I realized that that was my messaging. I told myself that they didn't. Whatever they had in their thoughts when they asked those questions, I have no idea. But I told myself, it's because you're not as good as these people that they're mentioning. I had to fix that. So that's why I'm saying, helping you to understand that you have what it takes, because you've been given that. God has given all of us what we need. And we can call that forth when it's necessary because it's there already. And call it forth to meet those situations as opposed to live in fear. So I had two options in those days. I could stop speaking about emotional healing, about trauma. I could stop, or I could continue on the journey that I was on. I could continue learning. I could continue growing. I could continue sitting at the feet of the greats in trauma therapy. I could read their books and I could learn and I could grow. My clients teach me every day. So I could continue doing that and learning and growing, or or I could give up because the messaging to myself was, I'm not as good as those people. But I didn't give up. And that's why I call myself an international speaker. I'm not by any means special in that regard. As I said, I'm sharing that story to let you know that we all struggle. And don't allow fear. I don't want you to allow fear anymore to fence you in, to box you in, and you never live your life free, the free life that you're supposed to have. So here is something to examine. What are those things in your life that trigger fear? What are those things that put you in a place where you're shut down, you're trembling, you're nervous, you're unable to make a decision, You're unable to call, have a conversation. You're unable to do anything. What are those things in your life that do that? Because remember, our past is a really good dictator of fear. Your past. Your past will form the basis, the root of your fears. And it could be your past yesterday. It could be a recurring pattern that's in your life. And if that recurring pattern stays in your life, then the story that you often will tell yourself around that, you would tell yourself a story around that recurring pattern. And you would believe that story. And because you believe that story, you will act out of that story. Like the person who say, my life always falls apart, or nothing good ever happens to me, is one I hear a lot. These things always happen to me. Nothing good ever happens to me. These things always happen to me. My life is always, you know, I never get a break. All of these things, all of these nevers and always that we use because there is a recurring theme in our lives. And because there is a current theme, we fear holds you captive, and you never rise to meet the occasion, because that's a recurring theme, because you have something that you can do to meet it. And because you're not meeting it, then it circles back around just to see, are you ready to meet it now? Are you ready to do what it takes to change now? And because you haven't done what it takes, it circles back again. And it keeps circling back, not so you have a recurring theme in your life of brokenness or fear or incomplete task or not being able to achieve, not so that you can have that story. It's circling back so you can meet it with what you have already, so you can begin to grow. So I want you to examine, what are those things in my life that triggers me, that causes me to be afraid? What are those things in life that recurs for me? What is circling back? What keeps coming back up for me that helps me to realize that I need to I need to do something to meet it? What's coming back? What's coming back? What's the recurring theme in my life? And when you discover what the recurring theme is, then do remember that you have already what it takes to meet that recurring theme, and it can now become a different. Your story changes after you do that. Your story changes. So the story that you will tell yourself changes. The trick is, friends, you have to be prepared to change that story. If you're comfortable in the story that you've always told yourself, this time you're not going to give yourself room or permission to do anything else. Because if you are allowing yourself to identify with your story and make your story your identity, then it becomes difficult. But if you're willing to move out of that and to not make what happened to you who you are, then you begin to do whatever it takes to meet that emergency of fear and not allow yourself to be boxed in, and you can be free. I wish that, my hope, my desire is that you will be able to call for what's already there, what you've already been given, to meet that emergency so you can break free. And I wish that you'll break free in whatever area in your life that you need to break free in, whether it's in your parenting, in your relationships, in your work, in your university work, wherever it is that you need to break free. I hope that you will call that forth and you'll break free. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Take care. Bye.